What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Dave Gets Sweaty. So today, we're going to talk about a few different things. I am kind of rushing around a little bit. I've got to go pick up my son from day camp. He gets out early on this one, and so, yeah, short timeline, so fast videos. One of the things we're going to talk about is this. What is this thing? We'll get into that in a minute. I've got some other things I want to talk about. Promise, I'll get back to this. Number one, back on the book. Let's talk about this for 1 second. Specifically, why I did this book in this particular way. It says Series 1, Volume 1, because there's going to be 3 volumes and potentially more series down the road. But that was because my intention was that I was going to turn these all into zines. That's why they're short. And that's why I broke up the 100-day challenge into 3 separate books. This is just one. There's 2 more coming. However, and this is kind of bad news, but I was turned down for all 3 local zine events. I was turned down for Los Angeles, I was turned down for Long Beach, I was turned down for Orange County. So, I'm not going to be showing my zines in any zine show. So why do I need a zine? In retrospect, I don't need a zine. I don't need many zines unless it was something I just wanted to do. What I probably would have done had I known that was probably going to happen is I would have made one big fat book. I thought about just doing that now and skipping the other 2 versions, but I've already committed to the other 2 volumes, and so I'm going to do Volume 2, I'm going to do Volume 3, and I'm going to do the big book. Will I do others in the future? That is a good question that I do not know the answer to just yet, but I wanted to let you know what was up. You will be able to get 2 and 3, even if you haven't bought 1. You can get 3 if you haven't bought 2. You can get 1 if you haven't bought, yeah, you get it. You can get the whole big book soon. I'm shooting for the end of August, but we will see how that all plans out. I've got a lot of stuff on the plate, which again, I'm gonna talk about in a minute. So this is happening, and it would have happened different had I known, but we roll with the punches because we never know. I tried to get into the Zine Fests. I didn't get into the Zine Fest. I'm still gonna produce the books regardless. I'm just guessing that part of the reason that I didn't get into the Zine Fest was because I didn't have a whole lot of zines. I literally have 1 at this point. If I have more, then maybe next year I will be able to get into a Zine Fest. But then maybe I won't want to because I've decided to go the book route. Number 2, let's talk about Instagram for just 1 quick second. I've been having conversations with my friend Stephanie about this, and she is flummoxed by the Instagram algorithm, as I'm sure many of you are as well. You can find her on Instagram at StupidEasyPaleo. I will link to that in the description. Her following at this point is about 240,000 plus people, so she knows what she's doing when it comes to Instagram, but she seems to be lacking the amount of interaction, engagement, likes that she used to, and it kind of pisses her off because she spends a lot of time making really nice photos for a platform that isn't returning back to her. There could be a lot of different reasons for that, and I'm sure some of you might be experiencing this as well, but I read an article recently on Later.com, and if you're not familiar with Later.com, they are an app, used to be called Latergram, that allows you to kind of schedule your Instagram posts, and you can see your analytics and check your hashtag. But the article that they wrote recently about 5 things you need to know about the Instagram algorithm is quite good. I think that you should check it out. I will again link to that in the description, but there was one particular part that I felt was interesting enough for me to share. Now, one of the segments of this particular article talks about how does the Instagram algorithm work, and they are pontificating a little bit on it because, of course, Instagram is going to hold that information pretty close to the vest because they'd be giving away the secret sauce and then everybody would be using that to their evil doing. So Later doesn't know the exact details, but they have a really good instinct to how Instagram and the algorithm works. They label that all out in about 7 bullet points underneath that one category. It's bullet point number 2 that I want to talk to you guys about. Let me read it to you. How long people spend viewing your post. The Facebook algorithm looks at length of time you spend interacting with content, and it's no different with Instagram. The Instagram algorithm uses the amount of time spent viewing a post as a key factor in determining how much to boost your post. As I'm scrolling through Instagram, scrolling, liking, scrolling, liking, there are only 3 different times when I slow down. Number 1, video. You post a video, I'm probably gonna stop and watch it if it looks interesting, it's a video, and I need to take time with that. Counts towards this idea of spending more time on that particular post because video. Number 2, if you have a multi-picture post, I'm sure you've seen these where you can post up to 2 to 10 different images that people can flip through. And if I'm spending that time looking at those different ones, it might not take me as long as watching a video, but it does take me longer than just flipping through one image. I'm not always gonna catch them, but sometimes when I do, I spend some time on that. And then of course I like that up. Number 3, if it's a longer description and I just happen to catch it enough to want to read further, then I'm gonna spend more time on that post. This one kind of requires people to slow down enough to want to read, because I know a lot of people move through Instagram just visually and they're not necessarily stopping. So you have to be engaging enough with the image to allow people to want to stop and read what you have to say. If you do get them to stop and read what you have to say, then you have an opportunity to keep them longer if that post is longer. I am not an Instagram expert. I will not pretend to be an Instagram expert. I expect you to do your due diligence when following up on this insight, if that's what you want to call it. This is what I believe they mean by spending more time on a particular post. If you've got an opportunity to slow somebody down, that's going to count towards helping them understand why you should be pushed to the top of somebody's news feed. There is a lot more good stuff in that article, and I highly recommend you read it if you are an Instagram aficionado, if Instagram is one of the main places that you spend your time. My little bit was just a tiny little fraction. Go check it out and do the due diligence to make it happen. Number 3, collaboration with homies or new homies or people in general. So I got this guy, this friend I know, named Dave Clark. I don't want to break anything. He made this table. There's not really much going on. It's a very nicely designed table, but there's not a whole lot going on. It's unfinished. Why would it be unfinished, I wonder? I'm glad you asked. Dave is a local artist and furniture maker here in Long Beach, and he has asked me and 14 other people to help him with a collaboration project. He has made 16 of these tables. That includes me, him, and 14 other people, and we are all going to decorate them as we see fit. He has no rules. He says, do whatever you want, make it however you want, do whatever you think you can to that table, keep it in, table form, and then when they're all together, we're gonna bring them into an event place and showcase them for the world to see. That is not until November. We got a long ways to go, but I am working with him on that, and I'm stoked. Now, of course, most of you are not going to be able to see that show, which I'm kind of bummed about, but I'm still stoked about being able to do it and share it here with you. I'm also considering that this is the way to build the future. Collaboration. More collaboration projects like this and others is going to be the platform for how I build and grow. I'm convinced that that's the way this works. I was thinking back to my old podcast, The Fresh Rag Show, if you didn't know it, because I was doing interviews with different people and they would share the show with their following. I would get new followers, and I would share them with my followers, and they would get new followers. And that's how this whole collaboration thing works. Pretty obvious. So long story short, I believe that if I can find new ways to collaborate, whether it's physically with art like that, or maybe sharing books with people, or doing videos with others, or maybe other things that I will talk about in a second, then I am more likely to grow larger than life. Or at least a little bit bigger than what I am right now. The proof will be in the action, and the action hasn't really taken place yet, but it's going to happen. I'm looking at the word collaboration as being the theme for the rest of 2017, from this point till whenever. So if there's anything that you'd like to collaborate on, I'm more than willing to look at that. Let's do some work together. Number 4, let's talk about this. Like I mentioned before, I had a podcast. It was called Fresh Rag Show. I also had another one called Maker's Gonna Make. That one didn't go very far. I enjoyed those podcasts for a minute, and they got really hard to do, and I started to get a little bit burned out, and. I have decided to do another one, because I couldn't possibly get burned out again, right? Now, some people might say that, yeah, Dave, that doesn't seem like good math. It doesn't seem like a good plan. I have an idea. This idea is that the new show, which is going to be called Art Lessons, is going to be a solo show. Not just a solo show, but a short form solo show. Me talking to you about things. It's gonna be somewhat familiar, kind of like this, but in audio format, and then mixed in with a couple other things. This episode, not exactly how I would run the podcast, but it's pretty close. I've got this here as decoration right now because it's not really on. At least you know that it's here, and it's going to be here on a regular basis. Not only am I going to record the podcast audio-wise, I'm also going to record it here, and so you guys get to see it. I'm toying with the idea of sharing it on a different channel, calling it just Art Lessons, but not there yet. What you need to know is that it's going to launch within the first week of August. Fingers crossed. I have to record a couple episodes to make sure I have something to upload. Once I get those recorded and put together and formatted, I will share everything with you guys as I tend to do. Make sure you plug into your iTunes podcast, whatever app, Spotify, wherever, to find it, because it'll be there when I launch it. It's not there yet, but it will be. And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time. And I hope you check it out, because I'm really looking forward to it. All right, folks, I am late. I am late to go pick up my son. It is now 3:04. I was supposed to pick him up at 3 o'clock. Before I go, please, if you haven't followed this channel, if you haven't subscribed and you like what I'm doing, please do that. Go over there, click that little subscribe thing. Make sure you click the bell to get notifications. Make sure you know when I post. And also follow me on social media as well. You can pretty much find me as @DaveConrey almost everywhere. Thanks a lot, folks. I'm out of here. Remember, be good today, be even better tomorrow. See ya. I'm late!